Our final witness for her statement is Elayne Masters. Elayne, you may begin.
Chairman Casey, Ranking Member Scott, and members of the committee, thank you for inviting me to testify today and for hearing the stories of people like me as you work to address hunger and nutrition among the aging population. My name is Elayne Masters, and I'm 65 years old. I was a self-employed writer-editor for 20 years and became a single mom when I divorced because of domestic violence. I live alone in Gibsonia, Pennsylvania, on the outskirts of Pittsburgh. My significant other and I spend as much time together as possible. My son and daughter live 2 hours away. My son and his wife are in Erie, and my daughter is heading to New Mexico for graduate school. My disability isn't obvious, but I have PCS, persistent concussive symptoms resulting from a brain injury. Direct care workers support me in living independently by letting me do what I safely can and helping when necessary. Because most people don't understand disabilities they can't see, I campaign for reform so others with invisible disabilities can access programs and services necessary to live fuller, healthier, and more independent lives. In 2009, the industry I worked in changed, and I found myself struggling to meet my budget. When I reached out for help from a partner to the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank, they directed me to their food pantry. Surviving as a single mom meant managing a tight budget, so when business was slow, I attended the pantry to supplement groceries I purchased. I appreciated the pantry's community garden that provided fresh fruits and vegetables during the growing season. As my business gained momentum, I aspired to break free from depending on social services, yet every time I tried to manage on my own, another hiccup would occur in life, and I'd be back in the pantry line. In February 2014, my mother became ill. I spent the next 2+ years providing care for her in hospitals and in my home. I gave her a better quality of life she would have received otherwise, and I have never regretted what I gave up for her. Late on a November evening in 2015, I was exhausted and took a nosedive down my basement stairs. I bounced off of each sidewall and landed on the top of my head, sustaining a traumatic brain injury. Many of my symptoms lingered and caused a total and permanent disability, qualifying me for Medicare, Medicaid, and the Medicaid Home and Community-Based Services Waiver Program. In addition, I have Lyme disease and hypothyroidism. These conditions cause neuroinflammation that results in brain fog, flooding, and fatigue. My sense of balance is impaired, I get confused, start stuttering, repeat myself, and miss important information in conversations. Fatigue can shut me down for hours or days. Eating healthy foods is critical for me to maintain, let alone improve my health and to support my independence. I'm grateful for SNAP because I can choose my own foods. However, when I'm buying more healthy proteins and vegetables, I run out of benefits by the 3rd week of the month. Thankfully, I still have the food pantry to provide additional fresh and frozen meats, dairy, fruits, and vegetables. I love growing vegetables in my backyard. Being able to pay for the plants with SNAP is great, but I wish I could shop at locations like local garden nurseries. I'd also love to be able to buy hot meals with SNAP when I don't have the stamina to cook. It seems silly that I can buy a cold roasted chicken that's dry when I reheat it instead of a hot, juicy one. The Senior Farmers Market Voucher is one of my favorite programs because the produce is usually locally grown, organic, and fresh. Most of the markets that accept the voucher are in Pittsburgh, so my direct care workers take me since I'm unable to drive in city traffic. It would be nice if the voucher amount could be increased and it could be used toward home-delivered, community-supported agriculture or CSA produce boxes. I used to receive the senior food box once a month. It would help me if there were fewer processed foods, a little more variety, and quantities more suited to a one-person household. For example, I can't go through 2 large boxes of cereal each month. Also, the senior box is a bit heavy for me to carry. Finally, home-delivered meals have been a godsend, especially after my most recent hospitalization. While convalescing, I could grab one out of the freezer and have a quick meal. I'm encouraged to learn that the needs of older adults will receive more focus as new dietary guidelines are established so that more of us can benefit from the service. All of these programs provide invaluable benefits to older Americans. I believe that the key to improving them is to offer more flexibility, more access to healthy foods, and more efforts to reduce barriers to access, like transportation, delivery options, and easier, simplified applications. Thank you for the opportunity to share my story and for considering the needs of older adults.
Well, Elayne, thanks so much for your testimony and for being willing to tell your story. That's one of the most significant parts of these hearings, when someone is able to, as you all have in one way or another, relate your own experiences.